We open with a short message from the author, Gavino Moretti. This is a graphic mini-story and covers sensitive subject matter. Go in knowing that. Also know this is a random story and has nothing to do with any of our ongoing characters. I'm just throwing it out because it's been stuck in my head. And now we present Until There Was Nothing.
I need you to leave. He smirked and kicked the door closed behind him. He'd followed me home, and somehow I hadn't heard him come up behind me. But then, I'd had more than a couple glasses of alcohol. I should have called for a cab. Should have what? Get out! My heart was starting to beat impossibly fast. He had no intention of going anywhere. What had been the reasoning behind living out in the middle of nowhere again? The peace and quiet? Only with that, no one would be hearing my screams. How did an evening away from the house turn into this? All I'd wanted was some time to talk to other adults, some drinks, maybe a little more, but not this. The kids kept me so busy, and I was fine with that. Just a one-night reprieve. How had I been so stupid? Please! Pleading, I took a step backwards toward the kitchen, which only managed to upset him more. You don't have to do this. I won't tell anyone. I promise. A forced, nervous smile played across my lips, trying to present it to him as believable. He took a step closer. I'd failed miserably. Tears ran down my face as he closed the distance between us. He'd played his part so well from the start. The false sense of security he'd instilled, his charming smile, the laughter that had parted so easily from his mouth earlier. All the mannerisms to erase any doubt that he was a danger were now replaced with something else. He was now cold, calculated, and void of any semblance of a soul. I was mentally scolding myself for not following my first instincts about him. But loneliness can make you see what you want to see, and not what really exists. When he closed the distance between us, I placed my shaking hands against his wide chest, looking up into his eyes and pleading. I have 2 small children. He cocked his head to the side as if he wasn't hearing me, but rather calculating his next move. I blurted out, "Why did you pick me?" "You were an easy mark, beauty. What the fuck do you care?" A what?" I stuttered, trying anything I could to buy time. Annoyed at my obvious ploy, one hand was removed from my neck and fisted up into a ball, crashing against my cheekbone in one swift hit. I heard the crack of bone, and I saw stars instantly. With my distraction, he tossed me around in a half circle and threw me over the edge of the refurbished old oak table. "Please!" Tears turned into hard, racking sobs. Then came the distinct sounds of him unzipping his jeans. Panicked, I tried pushing back, only to have him grab a handful of my crimson locks and yank my head forward. It hit hard enough against the table that I turned my head to the side and laid there, my lids fluttering as if I felt him lift up my dress and rip off the lace there. I bit my lip to bleeding when he pushed his way into me. Frozen in time, he raped me. My stillness pissed him off, and he grunted as he pulled out of me and pushed his way into my back end. It had never been breached, and it tore. A scream was ripped from my throat at the excruciating pain, and I could hear his sadistic laughing as he slammed into me without mercy. when I thought I'd pass out from the pain of the hits and his assault, he came. His heavier body fell over mine, and he mumbled out a woman's name. Mallory. The moment he mentioned her name, it was like something more sinister was released in him. I hadn't thought it possible, but when he pulled out of me, he threw a sharp punch to the center of my back, which immobilized me, then tossed me to the floor. Tears rolled down my face as I lay there, unable to move. He looked around the room, searching for something specific, his eyes lighting up when he found what he was looking for. A flash of silver passed in front of me as he dropped down to his knees on the linoleum next to me. He dropped the knife, and his hands rose and tightened painfully around my neck, squeezing. There was no doubt in my mind that he had planned this before our meeting at the bar. He'd come looking for someone like me. I'd been reckless to even think of bringing him back here, a place where my children would find me lifeless when they returned home from their father's house on Monday. I'd cut him off when he tried groping me, unease settling it as I told him I wasn't interested. It had already been too late for me then. Gasping, I managed the tiniest swallow of air before my passageway was blocked again, his hold tightening again, and he laughed at my futile effort. Anger began to course through my body. I had to make it for my kids, for me. My legs kicked out furiously but found no purchase, my red heels slipping and sliding against the hard floors before they were finally pushed off and aside. My hands gripped his strong, bulging forearms as I struggled, trying in frantic desperation to loosen his grip. His whiskey-filled spit sprayed across my face as he yelled at me, telling me to look up at him. I knew what he wanted, to see the life go out in my eyes, and I refused to give him this last request. He snapped out of his crazed madness and realized he was speeding things along a little too quickly. I struggled as he fought for breath. The slight ray of hope that he would take pity on me at the last minute had long passed. I heard a snap in my bones when I tried to roll to my side and crawl away. My throat burned, harsh, inhuman sounds coming forth as I fought to breathe. Another flash of silver, and he yanked my head back, slicing deeply from one side of my neck to the other. He held me at that angle and observed, relishing in his kill. As I felt my life slipping away, the metallic smell of copper assuaged me, sticky warmth pouring down my form. Visions of my children at various stages played out in my mind. Amber runs, I found, playing in the background of it all, until there was nothing.